Hey everyone, it's Chris at Lion Punch Forge. Today I'm going to be doing a video about why Lion Punch Forge. I mean, it's a cool name, punching lions and stuff like that, but it's more than just a name to me, and it's more than just a name to a lot of people who understand where it came from. To that, I'd ask you to please enjoy the photographs or clips that I'm going to include with this because they have something to do with what Lion Punch Forge is about, and they're hopefully enjoyable to look at while you listen to me speak. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down at the bottom and the little bell to get notifications on whether or not there's a new video. And I'll get into Lion Punch Forge. So first of all, there might be some jingling of bells here. That's my little kitten, Midnight. So if there's jingling, that's her playing around. So probably about 7 years ago, I had a dream, catching lions. But before I get into the dream, I'd like to give you a little back history. How many of you have had that moment where you look in a mirror and you don't see yourself? You don't see who you want to be. You don't see who you could be. And, you have that voice in your head that telling you that you're not good enough. You're not going to make it. You're not good enough. I think a lot of people have that, if not everyone at some point in time in their life, whether or not they want to admit it or not. So I was no different than that. At one point in my life, I was probably about 80 pounds heavier than I am now. I'd get winded walking up the stairs, pre-diabetic, and I was expecting my first daughter, Lily. And I'd look at myself in the mirror and wonder who I was. I think at the time I was 29, 28-ish, late 20s. Still don't even know who I am, which I think it probably hits home for a lot of people. So I spent some time and I did some research on diets and exercising and all that, and I ended up losing about 80 pounds and became kind of obsessed. And obsession is one of those kind of reoccurring themes in this video. I became obsessed with working out and nutrition and all that, and I lost weight. I became a coach at a CrossFit gym, and for a long time did some competitions and had a lot of fun. But even after losing weight, even after changing my lifestyle, I'd look in the mirror at that person that I was, and even though I'd lost weight, even though I appeared different, in my head I still looked the same. Until Lion Dream Day, May 5th. So I think a lot of us have these dreams where we have something that we need to do, whether or not we're trying to fight back or we're trying to get away, run, we're falling, but we can't move, we can't act, we can't do anything about it. And usually you wake up startled and taking a deep breath, gasping, wondering, what the heck that dream was all about. I was no stranger to those. No stranger to those at all. So this dream started off a lot like that, where I was walking across the street in the middle of the night, and off in the distance I saw these two dog-like creatures coming toward me. And I love animals. Animals are my happy place, at least one of them. And these dog-looking figures got closer, and I realized they were lions, two of them. And as I approached the middle of the intersection of the street, these lions stopped looking at me. And say, lions on the corner in the middle of the night and alone and no traffic. One, okay, I don't see that as a, probably something that's going to happen, but it was scary. And so when they started to move toward me, the first one started walking towards me, and I stepped backwards and I bladed my stance, which is moving one leg in front of the other back. It's kind of like a boxer stance, and I was carrying a gun. So I pulled the gun as the lion was running toward me, and the gun went click, which is unusual because a lot of the times in a dream you can't pull a trigger, you can't pull your gun, you can't act, you can't punch, you can't kick. But I did. I pulled it and I went click, and I hate the idea of shooting a lion, but when it comes to protecting yourself, sometimes you need to do what you need to do. So the gun went click, I realized it, and then threw the gun down onto the ground and moved out of the way as the lion jumped at me. And as he jumped past me, I stepped in and I punched the lion in the head. So he kind of flew onto the ground and retreated to a corner, and the other lion did the same thing. Charged me, and I did the same. And for 3, 4, 5 volleys of this happening, the lions would charge at me and I would fight back. I would punch and I would push them out of the way. And I was fighting these two lions in the middle of the street in the middle of the night. So as soon as this happened 4-5 times, both of the lions retreated to a corner and I let out this huge roar at them in the middle of the street. And I spent the rest of the dream chasing after them. And when I woke up, I had to go look out downstairs on the driveway to see whether or not I had, unfortunately, dead lions, which I didn't, which I was thankful for because, one, they're animals and I love animals. And two, I really didn't want to be banned from the zoo for the rest of my life. So there was that. Anyway, back on track. I ended up, I gotta grab a kitty, thinking about it for a couple days, about what that meant, because the dream felt real, and when I woke up, I felt different. I felt more sure of myself, more confident, but I was also, confused as to what that could have meant, because I think that while we sleep, we work out our problems, and our brains deal with issues that we don't want to deal with necessarily while we're awake. And dreams, you can go all day on what they mean, but I got to looking at lions specifically. Lions are what? Lions are the king of the jungle. Lions are those strongest things out there that everything else quivers at. And for me to take on two lions in my dreams and for them to run scared, I thought that maybe meant that was me taking control, or realizing that I had control over the things that I wanted to do in my life, the decisions that I would make, the success that I would have, that my worst enemy wasn't everything else, wasn't everything outside, it was inside. It was inside my own head. So over time, a couple weeks or so, I decided that I would coin the phrase punch the lion. So, and punching the lion would represent to me, and now to some people close to me, what you do when you're faced with adversity, when you're faced with a challenge, when you're faced with something that seems bigger or stronger than you. Punch the lion. Punch the lion. You're in charge of your destiny, or you're in charge of your fate. And sometimes we sit around all our lifetime waiting for opportunity. And sometimes, but one big thing about opportunity is not only do we sometimes have to make our own, we also have to find our own and be ready. Be ready when opportunity is there, because if we have opportunity in front of us and we're not, is it really opportunity? I don't think it is. Because, things pass you by, things flash in front of you, and some people take advantage and other people's plural, people don't. And the big difference between somebody who sometimes is successful and isn't is that opportunity, and willing to take an opportunity and move on it. There's a motivational speaker named Les Brown. Absolutely love him. If you get a chance, check him out. But he says the wealthiest place on earth is the graveyard, because people die with their ideas, people die with their inventions, people die with all these things that they didn't show the world. They had these things inside of them, but they didn't take advantage of their opportunity. They didn't tell themselves that I'm stronger than adversity. I'm going to punch the lion. I'm going to overcome. And so when I started trying to think of a name of my kind of business or forge, because I was blacksmithing at the time, I decided on Lion Punch Forge, because starting a business, starting something new, learning something from scratch, because I've never taken a blacksmithing class. I've never taken a metalwork class. I'm pretty much self-taught, to the respect that I've never taken actual instruction at this point. But I read, I watch videos, I look at books, I have pictures, I take a chance, I get in there, I do something. I don't wait around and think that maybe one day I'll do this or one day I'll do that. If you have something that you want to do it. And then forge. We hear the word forge. And you with today's resurgence of blacksmithing and metalworking and all that, we think forge. Forge is moving metal. Forge is creating this and creating that. But what about the idea of forging a river, moving past something stronger than you, forging a new way, forging a path? Forge in of itself, in common language, doesn't just mean metalwork. Doesn't just mean blacksmithing and metalsmithing and all that kind of stuff. For me, it means creating a new path. It means overcoming adversity. It means all the definitions possibly you could think of for the word forge. So when you see my lapidary work or jewelry or woodworking or leatherwork, it's all forge. All that is forge. Forging away, making something, creating something from nothing, through fire and adversity, forging something. So I hope this answered some questions as far as line punch forge. Some of you may not even ask the question, but I think it's important for people to hear about somebody else's adversity, and sometimes that helps them deal with their own. I'm no stranger to it. One of these days I may get into some of mine, but I don't want this video to be about me. I want it to be about change. I want it to be about changing yourself, believing in yourself, motivating yourself. And the quote that I've been thinking about lately, I'm not exactly sure who said it, but it's the effect of, we always say, we only live once. And that's not true. That's not true at all. We only die once. We live every day. So what I'd have to say in closing is live. Live every day. Take your risks. Take your opportunity. Make sure you're ready when it presents itself. And don't let somebody else tell you what is good or what you should or shouldn't do. They don't know you. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoy this. Thank you for listening. Hope you enjoyed the pictures and stuff. I'll see you on the next video. Appreciate you guys. Have a good day.